never leave it up to luck, this is dedication. Yeah, we in the winner's circle like we Katie Davis. And the class is back in session, get your education. Yeah, we getting paper, it's going down when we in town. We ain't stopping till we hit the Triple Crown. When we get to picking, boy, you better listen. Deeper than the blood, this a family tradition. Y'all boys are in trouble, this the daily double. Call it like I see it, baby, you can bet on me. You can bet on me, yeah. You can bet on me, yeah. You can bet on me, yeah. Call it like I see it, baby, you can bet on me.
All right, everybody, welcome back, Daily Double Pod, episode 16. We have the D-Boys here today. Me, my cousin, Do. Paulie D is still camping in Saratoga. He hasn't missed a day since we were at the track middle of this month. So he's kicking ass over there. Do, thanks for coming back on the pod. We have some housekeeping stuff to get into, but before we do, you were there with us for our week at Saratoga. What were some of your favorite parts of being at the racetrack and anything in general that you picked up from being there? Basically, like racing specific.
Yeah. The first day we were there on Thursday, we had I can't remember his name, a 4-horse we all loved that we all hit. I remember we were just getting hot and then it started pouring rain for a good 3-minute stretch and kind of wiped out the rest of the card. And then we came back and attacked on Friday and we had a pretty good day. My wife Jen won 7,600
That was
in one
awesome.
race, which was pretty cool. She's a little crazy, as you guys have seen. And then your wife Amanda got one of the toughest burns I'd seen. That was she had to pick 5 and got taken down on. I mean, the horse deserved to get taken down, but the horse was going to win. It
Right.
was Louis Saez on a 2-horse, and it was a real tough beat. I think it was like $1,500 collection for her. And then, just having the whole group there, Friday was great. Saturday was great. You guys had like just great energy. We got to see Kaz there. We got to see our cousin Oak. We just got to see the whole crew and, kind of in our glory, which is why Paul can't leave. He just can't bring himself to leave. So
I
he's
know.
still there,
I know. I love it.
So it was great though. Just
It-
just always great being there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was lucky enough to go for my birthday and then again for our trip. And I don't know, it's just something fun about that place. I felt like it was a quality year. I have our jockey standings to date to go through with us. PD has sort of ran away with it. You have solidified second place. Chris and I were battling for third and fourth place. Unfortunately, even with him having Tyler Gaffalione not ride a single race, he's going to beat me. So it's tough sledding. But PD with a really, really strong performance on our first iteration of the fantasy jockey competition or whatever you want to call it. So it was
Who was
fun.
in last? Who did you say was in last?
This guy.
Maybe you should start like a tennis podcast or something.
Honestly, man, I hate to be that guy. Dylan Davis screwed me. 36 winners last year, and I should have. It's more my fault than his. I know he didn't get the same quality or volume of mounts he had last year. But my finger wasn't on the pulse as nice as it probably should have been. But
How many does Ricardo have? How many does Ricardo have?
Ricardo 34. So I have it
God.
here. Ricardo 34, Kendrick Carmouche 23. So I wasn't right with that either.
Mooch 23, man, what a big year for Mooch.
It's a huge year, man. It's huge.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, it's super cool. So a few housekeeping things. This is fun. So we have our first podcast sponsorship that I wanted to talk about with you. And then this isn't a sponsorship, but we're going to do a collaboration with this company. So I figured I'd make it dramatic and bring the unboxing here. But there's this company. See, can you see that, Dave?
Derby Club.
Derby Club. So I don't know the full scoop on Derby Club, but I know one thing. They make damn good hats. So we may do a collaboration with them, with the Daily Double Pod and Derby Club, but I think they're in Saratoga, and they do these hats. So I'm going to do this unboxing and show you this hat. So we supported the
Awesome.
Derby Club in their first round of production. It's a legit box. Oh my gosh! Holy crap! That's
It's empty.
wild. That's wild. Amanda must have the hat. I'll have to ask her for it. So Derby Club. Oh, that's actually hilarious. That's just like so great. So Derby Club will have to get you the hat. We have it upstairs. I thought I put it back in this box here, but unfortunately we did not. But they're great quality hats. We'll take some pictures and show you what we got. Second order of business is we have our first sponsorship for the podcast via Preston's Coffee Company in the Virgin Islands. So they make some premier coffee blends. You can get the beans or you can get the grounds. And what they want to do for us for 1 year is every guest that we have on the podcast, they want to send for free a bag of coffee for you to try. And then if you like it, maybe you go ahead and you place a few more orders in the future. But Dewey D, with you being our first guest, we're going to backdate it and allow Katie to dip in too if she'd like to, if she's a coffee drinker. But you will be our inaugural coffee taste tester from the Virgin Islands. So after this pod, I'll send you a link. And you just let me know which one you'd like to drink, you'd like to try from a list. They have a list of blends, and it'll show up at your door within like 14 days.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So it's pretty sweet. So thank you to the Virgin Island Coffee Roasters. We've had their coffee here. I've had it for a few years now. Unbelievable quality. If you are on a Carnival cruise or you are in St. Thomas visiting the Virgin Islands, right where you dock your cruise ship, you go across the street and you can't miss it. There's the only coffee shop that you can see, and they do really quality stuff. So you'll get a bag on the house from them directly from us. Yeah, you'll have to check it out. So Dewey D will have to send you over the first bag, and then you let me know what you think.
Yeah, thank you. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. All right, so first order of business, Travers Stakes. What did you think? What were your initial impressions of the race?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sovereignty is even better than maybe I thought he was. It just, it was kind of a weaker field, obviously, but uh, just the way that, around the turn, he kind of looked like he was working a little bit. And then all of a sudden he has this extra gear, like when he gets into the lane, that's just, I mean, it's unbelievable, you know. Paul and I were joking. Billy Mott should run him like in the sword dancer at a mile and a half on the turf, maybe. The horse just looks like he can run all day, So I think he's even better maybe than we thought. I think he's the best horse in the country. It was a weak field. He didn't beat much, but the horse is looking good, and I think he's the clear favorite right now in the Breeders' Cup, and hopefully we get to see him running, for through this year, and then 4-year-old career would be great. The
Yeah,
with the Saudis have gazillion dollars. Hopefully they just
they want to see
let
him
this
run.
horse run. So it's
Definitely.
it was
So
great.
let me tell you this. He had the one, two, three, four, fifth fastest Travers time of all time, behind Arrogate, General Assembly, Epicenter, and Easy Goer only. From my vantage point, it looked like he was wrapped up, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, the last portion of that race. I think he probably could have pushed. He lost by 8/100ths of a second to Easy Goer. He definitely could have ran faster than that. I think he could have pushed up to potentially closer to 2 minutes if he really ran all the way out through the wire. So it was an awesome performance. And again, he didn't have the toughest of challenge, but I was really impressed by it. So what is your initial knee-jerk reaction to the news from Mott saying they're skipping basically the next 2 months worth of racing, and his next race will be in the Breeders' Cup Classic in November?
It's not surprising. Billy Mott is known to kind of take his time with horses. And I think it's a good move. They've done this all the way through and it's worked. They skipped the Preakness, they won the Belmont. The horse obviously can win off a three month layoff. I think it's a good move. I think it suits the horse's style, and I think it's the right thing to do. And it's not surprising, given that it's Billy Mott. He's kind of known to take his time with horses, and you know, the horse has shown that he likes to run fresh off a layoff too. So I think it's a good strategy and not really too surprising in my view.
I like it. I did a little bit of research. White Abarrio, Sierra Leone, both did on the same path. Both of them won the Travers. Both of them didn't run another race until the Classic and then won the Classic. So it's not like it hasn't been done before. And those are two quality horses that are still going. You know what I mean? So I like the move too. I think they were patient earlier on in the year. I think I heard this directly after the Kentucky Derby. I heard that Mott say, one of the reasons we're not pushing him is because I really want the Travers. That was like the main goal. So it was cool to see him pinpoint that race, which was months down the line, and do right, by the horse's progression time and peak at the right time for the Travers. So my guess is they lay him off for like a week, let him rest. I think the plan is to keep him at Saratoga for the next like 6 weeks or so, and then send him out west. So I don't know. I like it. How do you think he ultimately stacks up against the older crop of horses, some of which we're going to see race this weekend?
I mean, barring some sort of bad trip, he's the best horse. I mean, I don't think the older horses, we're going to talk about the race coming up in a couple weeks here, the or this weekend here, but I don't think the older horses are as good as him. I think that barring some sort of freak trip or something in the race that sort of is a disadvantage to him, he's the best horse in the country, and uh, I'm not seeing any of the older horses have moved forward enough to really say that like they're the stand. White Barrio has gone backwards. Sierra Leone has run good. He's kind of erratic though. Fierceness has been a letdown for me. And then there's a couple other, NISOs and some of these other outliers, but I think he's established himself as the clear favorite right now. And barring something like a freak trip that somebody got to the lead, or he was way in the back, or he got a bad trip or something, I think he's the clear choice right now.
It's hard to argue. I actually, funny enough, think his biggest competition in that race is going to be journalism. I think the Classic comes down to the two of them. I think journalism runs well this weekend, and I think that if he comes into that race well, um, I don't know. I feel like the 3-year-old crop just is better this year. If it were up to me, I would probably be leaning towards a Cold Exacta in the Breeders' Cup now. If I could get some decent odds on that, I would take the two of them again. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how he stacks up. I think he's the best horse in the country too right now. He's just done it too easily. I asked my dad this, but you haven't. You were on more for a pick five sequence and then the jockey draft. Here's a question I have for you. Do you think, if pushed to run in all three legs, he would have won the Triple Crown?
Ugh. Um, I think he probably would have. Yes, I think that uh, just because journalism was really the horse to beat him was journalism, and as long as he beat him in the Preakness, journalism probably would have went away in the Belmont, like he did, and I think he probably would have won. I just didn't see anybody else that really could have challenged him,
Yeah.
besides journalism. If journalism had like skipped the Preakness and maybe waited for the Belmont, maybe, maybe he could have beat him then. But I think he would have, but I don't think these guys care too much. I think they want this horse to run for a while. They want to win specific races, and they want to keep this thing going with him, and they don't want to push the horse. They just want to set him up to win, you know, these certain races during the year. They're not too concerned about winning the Triple Crown, maybe.
Yeah. You
But
might be
I
right.
think he would. I think he probably would have won though, just because if he beat journalism and the Preakness and journalism went away, who else was going to beat him? You know?
Yeah. I mean, he's beaten everyone else that would have been in the race pretty
Yeah,
handily.
he would have had to really step back from the three races in a row. Like he would have really have had to backed up
Yeah.
because there's nobody else that was like that really materialized outside of those two horses. Really,
Yeah. Baez approved he was good. Um,
Baeza was good.
he
Yeah,
was
maybe
best of the
Baeza.
rest. Yeah.
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 But he beat him by like, I don't know. He beat, in the Belmont, what did he beat him by like five?
Yeah. Belmont was bad. It was a little closer in the Jim Dandy. That one was a
Jim
little
Dandy.
closer for
Yeah, I mean, you know, he would have really have had to back up that distance basically
Yeah.
uh, to have Baeza beat him. But
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
think he would have won.
For his legacy, I do too. For his legacy, I see him winning the first and third leg, sweeping the Summer Derby and the Jim Dandy, and then if he wins the Classic, I don't necessarily see him missing the Preakness as like a black eye on his 2025 resume. I think that he would be in the talks of the Arrogates and other Kentucky Derby winners if he completes this, six in a row. Do you agree? Do you think that his legacy's hit at all by not winning the Preakness, or if he punches home in the Classic, it's sort of like the Preakness almost gets lost in translation?
I think, even just past the classic, I think his 4-year-old season is going to matter a lot. Like if he turns out to be like an arrogate that wins like $10 million, because I could see them shipping him to Dubai at some point to win the race over there. Like if this horse does that and he wins 10 million, then no, like yeah, that nobody's going to care about the Preakness. I think that's what's exciting to me is that because they've taken their time, this horse could be a very good older horse too, and if this horse wins like arrogant money,
Yeah,
then you won't be talking about the Preakness. If he like loses the Breeders' Cup and it doesn't do much as a 4-year-old, then you're gonna be like, yeah, he should have won the Triple Crown, But I don't think that's gonna happen. I think this horse is gonna be good next year as well, and I think he's gonna win a lot of money. And I think nobody's gonna care about the Preakness. I think they're gonna say, wow, these guys are geniuses. They won horse won $8 million, and you know, each is going to go down as a very good horse.
yeah, I am in that camp as well. I think right now, like you talked about the mile and a half, I think the more distance that he goes, the better he gets. He closes impressively. I remember just after watching the Jim Dandy, I was like, dang, like, what the heck was that? And then I rewatched the race a few times and I was like, oh, he wasn't really giving everything he had. Junior was pretty much wrapped up on him the whole time. They never panicked and he sort of won easy. And then I was like, oh, geez. And then he kind of opened up again and you got to see him hit that final gear in the Travers where he was like sending it and then pulled up and sort of reined him in and pinned him down for the last like 150 yards. But yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about where this horse is going. I think he could go down as an all-time great. Do you think it's too soon to say things like that?
I think, it's probably too soon. The only thing I would say is that he hasn't, besides journalism, like I don't think he's run against too many high quality horses yet. I think that's what's gonna, as he goes now to the older division, and if he clocks them and runs by them, then yeah. But I think it's gonna, things are probably gonna change a little bit when he gets to that. I wouldn't say too that he has like that when you watched like American Pharaoh run, like you were like, or Flightline, it was like just watching him run, you were like, this is one of the best horses I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Like this horse is like he was working a little around the turn, then all of a sudden the last eighth of the mile, you're like, whoa. Like, his strength is that little last kick. And I think it's gonna depend on if he can do that against those older horses, throughout his career. And I think at some point that with that style, he's probably going to get upset somewhere along the line just because of that styles. Someone's going to not want to let him go by him, at the end of the
right.
race, you know. So I think he's going to be a good horse. I wouldn't put him in like the great. I would say at the end of his career.
Okay, I like it. So too soon for that, but he has potential to be one ultimately,
Yeah,
depending on how the next year and change goes. I like that. I think it's just because I'm such a fan of him. I jump to it, and I know that at the classic distance, he's going to be at his best, which I really like. Where, for instance, a horse like
yeah.
Journalism, I think mile and an eighth, even mile and 16th, he's maybe at his best. So it's almost a perfect segue. Let's talk about the big race this weekend. We have the 2025 Pacific Classic. It's on 8:30. Is that Saturday or Sunday? 8:30 is Saturday. My dad said Sunday.
Saturday.
It's Saturday. And we have an interesting field. We looked at it a little bit here. I'll give the field to the listener here. We have Fierceness going, Midnight Mammoth, Ultimate Gamble, Nisos, which is Bob Baffert and Flavian Pratt. We have Indispensable, which is Mr. Paco Lopez, who I think is underrated and slept on. Journalism, Mike McCarthy and Rispoli trying to do the damn thing, lure him in, and Tarantino. So for this race specifically, we're going a mile and a quarter, and we are going to be at Del Mar. So it's their big race of their meet. The way I see the race is I see it as a two-horse race, actually, between Nisos and Journalism, with Nisos dominating the first three-quarters of the race, and then Journalism needing to dominate the last quarter in order to win. I was a little bit let down by Fierceness. I know you had him in a sequence singled, I think it was pick five sequence, and I felt like the race opened up for him perfectly to take over in a Saratoga
Uh,
style, pounce at the right moment and sort of just like have just enough energy that the tired horses behind you can't make up the ground. Do you see it as a two-horse race too? What are your thoughts?
I got the same thing. I mean, I'm a little sour on Fierceness because of what he did to me in that pick five. That was in the Whitney.
Yeah,
I mean, the horse had like three clear coming for home in a hand ride like this. It was like that's why I bet him. I thought he would be in that spot, and he didn't pull away. And he didn't really do it. He didn't do it in the mile race he was in earlier in the season.
true.
And even if you go back to the one at Churchill where he ran that big buyer, he just was like all out to get past that horse. I just don't feel like he moved forward as a 4-year-old the way that we that thought he had.
Yeah.
So definitely kind of was soured on him, especially with the position he was in that race to not fire and like at least being like a head bob with Sierra Leone maybe at the wire. Like he just kind of didn't really run down the lane, you know? So I definitely have it as a two-horse race too, between Nisos and Journalism. I was listening to some of the lingo on Nisos. I watched the workout he had the other day, and they were saying Simon Bray said it was like an American Pharaoh like workout. So I was like, oh, I got to go watch this. And you watch the horse run, you're like, oh my God, like this horse is like just in those one of those horses is just like cruising. It doesn't even like the jockey's just like this the whole way. Like he's not even going up and down. It's like, what's going on? So I think he's coming into the race very good. The distance obviously is the worry maybe with him. Um, but I think he's the best horse there, and I like him to win probably. Journalism is good. I think Journalism is a good horse. I think he'll run down the lane. My impression is Nisus have the lead coming for home. Journalism will be coming at him down the lane. Journalism won't get up. I go Nisos first, Journalism second. And I like that cold exacted though, and I hopefully people overbet Fierceness and we can get a decent price on that exacta.
I like it. So here's a question I have for you. How how big of a jump is it for a horse to have their longest distance they've ever run be a mile and a 16th, and not to take that next step to a mile and an eighth, but to take a whole nother jump in a full furlong almost, and
For a
go
long and a
right to,
half, yeah.
yeah, and go right to the mile and a quarter distance? Do you think how big of a deal is it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it depends on the breeding of the horse, you know. He's a son of Nyquist, who won the Kentucky Derby at a mile and a quarter. You know, I think Nyquist was probably a little bit better though at like a little shorter distance. So you know, it's probably a knock against him if you were going to say that there was a knock against Nyquist. If the race was a mile and an eighth, I would say he'd probably be the favorite, hands down. And you'd probably say, yeah, this is probably the horse here.
Yeah.
But I just think that he's got, you know, the ability to go a mile and a quarter with Nyquist blood. The way he's coming into the race, it's Bobby B, it's California, it's it's his home track. Like it just seems like a lot of other things in his favor. And I don't think the field is outstanding uh, outside of maybe journalism. You know that there's much else to beat in the race. I think he just beat a bunch of those horses in the San Diego pretty handily. And if you go back and watch that race, he's like pocketed the whole race and he clears, and then all of a sudden he hits the button, and it's like, whoa, like
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's better than them. It's just a question whether he's better than journalism and that fierceness. You know, fierceness is a year older, which gives them an advantage.
Yeah.
But I think that those two horses to me, I think it's a nice cold exacta.
I like it. So I'm with you. The only thing I would change is I think, and I've been saying this on the podcast for a few episodes, that I think journalism is a better horse when he has a target and he has his eyes set on something, because I think that the horse is just naturally competitive. Like when he almost went to his knees around the turn in the Preakness and then went and nailed Gosker, like Gosker was still
Yeah.
ripping and he nailed him. I think he gets a Nisos that wants to be more forward than him, if not on the lead, depending on like what happens out of the gate. I think he has a target in Nisos. I think this distance is fine. He's run over the track. He broke his maiden here at Del Mar in 2024 at a mile, so he's familiar with the track. I think what ends up happening is Nisos pulls away from the field. Journalism makes like that, coming that just around the turn move. Nisos takes the lead, and he ends up going and nailing him at the wire. I think Rispoli ends up having this huge emotional. He's crying when they interview him. This huge, like this beautiful, like Italian speech about his
These freaking
family.
freaking Italians.
Yeah, I love it.
It's
I love his
everything
speeches. He's just so passionate, and it's like every race for him is like the Dubai World Cup,
yeah.
which I love. But my only fear is, as I look here now at his past performances from the races over the summer, he did have a pretty serious campaign, but starting on March 1st, which he ran
Yeah.
in the San Felipe at Santa Anita, all the way to winning the Haskell in July. There's one, two, three, four, five, six
Yeah.
races between, six races in 4 months, essentially.
Yeah.
And there were some races where he really had to earn it, and he had to fight, and he had tough heavyweight fights with Sovereignty. So that's my only fear. Whereas I look over at Nisos, I don't see as many quality
Yeah.
horses. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little bit of my fear, but I'm with you in the exacta. I think fierceness comes up a little bit soft. Do you think he's good enough to get third in this race?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's much else in the race. So I think he is. I just feel like those two horses are better. If you get a chance, go watch the workout on Nisos. You'll be like,
I
you'll
gotta
wet your
see it.
diaper. It's just like, it's beautiful. You're
I
just
gotta see
watching
it.
this horse go, and you're like, whoa, like this horse, the guy's just like this, and the horse is like,
Just
you
cruising.
know, just cruising. Yeah. So I I think fierceness could stay for third just because it's a weak field, but hopefully he doesn't bust my exacta. You know,
Yeah. Oh man.
I I did have that Preakness. I had to pick five that day when he got up. I thought I was dead around the turn, and then I
I
thought I was
thought,
dead around the turn,
and
and
then
then
he
he runs
scooted.
down Gosker. Yeah, and then I hit the pick five. I thought, he got up for me.
That was I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, you probably thought it was over around the turn, but I didn't think there's any chance he
Yeah.
was picking him up.
No, I was yelling at the TV. I started cursing and then yelling at the TV. Like, can you believe this? What is this? Oh, I can't believe this happened to me. And then all of a sudden he goes by and I'm going, oh, thank
That's
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks,
Yeah.
Umberto. That was an
Yeah.
awesome ride by him too. And you know what I liked that you said, just to touch back on, you compared Sovereignty to someone like who were we talking about just a little bit ago? The one
Arrogate.
Arrogate. It's sort of
Yeah.
like Arrogate had this weird floaty, I'm coasting, I'm not really putting forth all that much effort,
Right.
and then now I'm skipping away and you're like digging in and you can't find me because I'm just skipping along. Where
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? It sort of looked more effortless with him, whereas like Sovereignty looks like he's in like a fight, where he looks like he's
Yeah.
digging and working and working, and he's just gonna outwork you, and then at the end you're not gonna have anything left, and he's like just hitting his like high, he's like a train, you know what I mean?
The balance on like an Arrogate was like unbelievable. Like, or, Flight Line or American Fair. Like when they run, there's no like wasted energy at all. Like it was
Yeah.
just like coasting. And I think that's what I saw on the Nice House workout the other day. And you don't always see that for like journalism and sovereignty. I don't always see that kind of motion with them. But
Yeah.
uh, you know, the super horses that I've seen, especially the California ones, they just seem to have that like, when you watch Flightline run, it was like this horse doesn't even look like he's working,
Yeah.
you know.
You're
So
absolutely right.
that kind of motion, but
You know who else had that motion that still feel like was a missed opportunity, and I feel bad for my dad, Paulie D. He had $100 to win in a futures pool on a horse at like 8 to 1. It was 2023, and the horse's name was Nadal. Do you remember that horse?
yeah, yeah,
The horse
I
was
remember him.
unbelievable
Yeah,
and had that sort of same floaty, effortless running style,
he
and
got hurt,
ultimately
right? Did he get
got
hurt?
hurt, couldn't make it. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a Bobby horse, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. He gets all those ones that have that just beautiful balance, when they run,
Yep.
and that's what I saw from Nysos the other day. And I think if you see that on Saturday, I think you could see him win.
Okay, let me ask you this. How do you think the race changes for the Pacific Coast Classic if Sierra Leone were to be entered in this race and would be coming into it fresh? How do you think the race would change? Would you change your betting style at all if there was a formidable closing threat in this race where it sort of feels like Nisos stalks the pace or is on the lead? Journalism's going to have that first go at him. Sierra Leone has proven that this is a distance he can thrive at. How would you see the race if we had a really solid closing threat?
Yeah, that would be tough. I mean, especially Sierra Leone won the Breeders' Cup on that track too. So
Hmm.
like it would be hard not to like him. And he just won the Whitney.
Yep.
So I mean, you'd have to put him definitely in the mix. I would say that you would have to make a decision between those three, what order you want to put it in. You know, I, I'd probably give Sierra Leone maybe a little bit of an edge just because he's older than Nisos hasn't run as many races,
Yeah.
and he's an older, more mature horse. And he's won over the track at that distance. So it'd be hard not to like him. I probably would go cold exacting with those two at that point.
You cold exact the Nisos and Sierra Leone.
I would say, yeah, I probably would go for
Snap.
that. Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering because I'm super high on
I don't
journalism, man.
like, I don't do anything like what you said in journalism, though. I was thinking about it earlier was that the number of races he ran,
Yeah.
the horse has been worked hard. Also, the guy's done a great job keeping him where he's at,
Yeah.
and he just seems like a Seabiscuit almost kind of horse where just like he's like a very sturdy horse,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
which
true.
is the good thing about him. But those other horses are coming into the race a little more fresh.
Yeah. What did you think when you heard that McCarthy was going to skip the Travers and point towards this race? Do you think it was we've already seen this story with sovereignty. We've already tried this at this distance this year, now twice, one time at this track. Let's leave it alone and go try a new test. Do you think he was thinking, let's get this as a good, maybe a better prep for the classic? Maybe this be a little bit of a more winnable race. What do you think he was thinking of? Why do you think he faded the Travers?
I think it was the right decision. I think it had to do with sovereignty. Any watching what sovereignty did in the Travers, I think he made the right decision. I don't think he was going to beat that horse. So
Yeah.
I think they just were like, why would we go run second to this horse again? Let's go try to win this race. What's the race on set? Was it 1.5 million or $1 million or
1.25.
1.25? Yeah, it's probably gone. He's got, I would say, as good of a shot as anybody in this race. Whereas the other one, he probably would have definitely been second to Sovereignty.
Yeah,
He could beat Nysos, he could beat Fierceness, like he could win the race on Saturday.
definitely.
I think he's looking at that going, who do I have to run against?
Yeah.
You know, my
Yeah.
horse is as good as these horses here.
Hmm.
But he's run a lot though.
He's had a crazy 3-year-old campaign, man. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just been like you said. He's a Seabiscuit type. He's just like he's every other week. He's fighting in a tough race against quality horses. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. He's
If
getting
he
6 weeks off.
wins, if he wins on Saturday,
Hmm.
Sovereignty is even better than you thought he was. Because if he beats all these horses and Sovereignty has clocked this horse, a couple times now, it's like
Then you
this
see the writing on the
you
wall,
see the writing
potentially.
on the wall that Sovereignty is even better than we thought he was. Let's put it that way. Oh, that's a nice hat.
See this? This is the Derby
Is that
Club.
I get that with my coffee?
Hold on, let me put this on. Get the- So this is the
That's
Derby Club.
nice.
It fits fantastically well. Strong brim, very comfy, light. I got to fix the headphones though. But yeah, it feels great. I'm a huge fan of it. It's super super comfy. I'll bring it to you this weekend. Are you going to be there this weekend, by the way?
Now, I'll
Are you
be in
guys not coming to
Maryland.
Tomato? Is Tomatoes this weekend?
Yeah, it's Labor Day weekend.
Son of a biscuit. All right. So I have all your shirts though. When's the next time you'll be in town?
I got my shirt. Didn't I get my shirt?
No, they didn't. They came in after we got home.
Oh, maybe I was thinking of, maybe I think I stole Paul's shirt. No,
Nice.
no. Yeah, when am
So
I going to get my shirt?
they're
Send it with the
ready.
coffee. Put the hat, the
Ooh, that's a good
coffee, and the
idea.
shirt in the box and send it back to me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So yeah, this is the Derby Club. It's really freaking nice, man. It's comfy. All right. So let's
It's
talk about.
too nice for you.
Yeah, this one I'm just gonna get dirty.
Yeah.
But
I'll
all
last
right.
about 5 minutes with me.
Yeah, you'll do good with it. All right. So here's a question for you. We did our 2025 jockey competition with the draft, right? We ended up doing 2 points for a win, 1 point for second, half a point for third. It was a good time. It was sort of just like let's test this out and have fun with it. So here's my question for you. I have the sheet here, so I can take you through some of the figures if you have questions. So I got two questions for you. Next year, how do you think we could improve it so that aside from draft better, make it a little bit of a closer contest? And do you think there are enough jockeys that ride the circuit that we could open it up possibly to 5 contestants, 6 contestants, something like that? So before you answer, I'll give you the scoop. For instance, my team this year total scored 218 points. If you put that in perspective with Paulie D, Irad Ortiz scored 157 points by himself. So and if you have to ask me any questions, I'll clear up some numbers for you, but the floor is yours. What do you think? How do we improve it next year?
If you wanted to have more people, maybe what if we did jockeys and trainers together
Ooh,
to broaden the pool so that now you can say, well, okay, I'm going to take Chad Brown, I'm going to take Todd Pletcher, and I'm going to take Irad Ortiz. Like maybe that gives enough more meat, at the top to like actually pick. Yeah, because once you pick Irad and he gets 157, it's like,
it's
you
tough.
know, it's tough. So I would think maybe that would be good. And maybe what if we picked five, right?
We picked 5. Yeah,
So maybe if you did jockeys and trainers, I think you could get to five. So if you had 5 contestants, that's 25. You have to look through it. There's 25 viable jockeys and trainers that really had enough winners where like it's competitive when you're picking the lower numbers,
right.
you know?
Yeah,
You could shorten it up to like four, maybe, if it's not so that like that last pick is not like as big of a throwaway,
I like
you
that.
know?
So I like that actually. I think that's a really good idea. I think similar to like a fantasy football roster, we could even do like you have to take, let's just for the sake of it, 3 jockeys, 2 trainers, and then that's your team, something
Yeah,
like that. Or
that's a good
maybe
idea.
like 2 jockeys, 2 trainers, and then a flex spot where you can either put another trainer if you'd like,
Yeah.
or another jockey, something like that. That's fun because then if you wanted to go all in, like some fantasy football experts go, I really want to take a quarterback and a wide receiver on both teams because they're doubling up their potential points, and you could say, well, then I really want to get Chad Brown and Irad, so I'm going to put my first 2 picks on those
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I mean, would you change the way we scored things at all? Do you think that there's a world where maybe there was too many points for first, or we could have shaved it in some other way?
Was there any scenario where I won? I mean,
I mean, you honestly you got screwed a little bit because Flavian
yeah,
regressed.
Flavian.
Flavian
If I
got.
had taken Jose, would I have won?
You want to hear the crazy thing though? You would not have won. Um, ooh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold the horses here. You ended up right now. You are down by 321 points. You have 323. My dad has 354. Um, let's see here. Jose Ortiz, 157 points total. Flavian Pratt, 127 points total. 127, so we have a 30-point swing. If you take Jose Ortiz as opposed to Flavian, you are in the lead right now.
And Paul has Jose, right?
Paul has Jose.
Yeah, he would have got Flavian. So I would
Oh,
have, it
no, I'm
was six.
sorry. Wait, yeah, there's a 30-point swing. You would be
Yeah, I
winning.
would have got 60 points swing because that way he would have been down 30 and I would have been up 30.
Well, he would get the points from, oh, wait a minute. You're right.
Yeah, I freaking Flavian. I should have taken
Flav,
Jose. I would have got it.
you would have. That's true, actually. So, that's
He's off
interesting.
riding in California. Doesn't he know that I got this thing going on?
I
He's like,
know.
the guy's like,
I know. His numbers are impressive, though, I must say.
it's good.
37
Yeah.
wins, 37 second place finishes, and 32 thirds. So he wrote a lot. He was in the money damn near every time he was in a race
Yeah,
specifically.
but he had like 60 winners last year, didn't he?
I think Irad took it last year with 60, and he was in
He
the.
was like one or two off. Like he
Oh
was
yeah,
like
you're
he was
right. He
close.
was.
Yeah.
He
He had a
was.
lot more winners last year.
He was.
I mean, he had a good
I
year. He just had an exceptional year the year before.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Irad Ortiz, 54 winners, 52 second place finishes, 39 thirds. He has 179 points for Chris. The rest of Chris's team has 50 points combined.
I
Just
mean,
tough.
Josh, they don't ship up from Florida. Let's put it that way.
And he somehow beat me because Irad is just otherworldly.
Yeah,
So
you drank too much coffee.
yeah, I had too much of the Virgin Island coffee
Yeah.
running through my blood. But yeah, Dylan ended up only scoring me 67 points, 16 wins, 23 seconds, 24 thirds. That hurt. Manny Franco ended up scoring 82. He was my highest point scorer. JJ Castellano with a little bit of a down year. I thought that I would have got the same production from JJ as you would have got from like a Rosario, for instance, whereas Rosario ended up with 75 points with 27 winners. 27 is a lot, actually.
Who's winning the trainer standings right now?
Let me tell you. I don't have it here, but I will pull it up.
Yeah, what
Um,
would be the top? Like, what would be their point total? Let's see if that's like near the Irad Jose range. Because then that would have given you a chance. Like, then you're the fourth pick. Like, you could have said, okay, well, I'm going to take Todd Pletcher, and
right.
you're getting an Irad
Okay.
outcome.
So here we go. This is interesting. It's a good question. Todd Pletcher right now is putting up Rosario style numbers as a trainer. So he has 21 winners, 16 second place, 17 third place. So he's comparable to the points that a Rosario would get for you. So for my dad, that was his third overall pick. So it's kind of interesting. Even Chad Brown, 27 wins, 22 seconds, 22 thirds. So the trainers would not be able to supplement the points
The
that you
first
get from.
pick.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Um,
Maybe
but
opening it up then to maybe a few more people so that when you're the first pick, your sixth pick or like your next pick is further down so that you really get hit, Because
yeah,
otherwise, like once you pick Irad,
yeah,
you need to like really get kneecapped below that.
I like that. Okay, so let's think about this. Maybe four jockeys, two trainers. We have five jockeys right now. Maybe we go four jockeys, two trainers, and we open the league up to five people, maybe. And so that would be
Yeah.
30 selections. That could work. You know what I mean? So, like, if you're the first pick and you take Irad, you're not picking again until the 10th pick. So, by like a numbers standpoint, I'll tell you the 10th best jockey right now, based on points, would be someone like a Junior Alvarado. So, you're sort of missing that whole middle tier
Yeah.
of the Santanas, the Saez, the Dylan Davis, the Manny Francos. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think five is the number. I think Jeff would probably like to do it. He likes all things fantasy sports. Jeff could hop in, or we could, we could ask, anyone who wanted to
Black
do so.
fly. What about the black fly?
The Black Fly could get in. Mark of Diamonds. I don't know if he's ever done any fantasy stuff, but he would.
He's not too good at math.
No, you don't think? I think so. That's great. So, okay, so that's a recap there. We got the Derby Club on. Sorry for that earlier. That was actually kind of embarrassing, but I guess life goes on. You guys are not coming up for the tomato event. You guys have something else planned this week?
We're going to the river to Jen's parents. We go to the river in Maryland, and
Gotcha. Okay.
they go on the boat,
Cool.
hang out there with them.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
good. Watch the race. I'm only there. They live like 30 minutes from Delaware Park, so like I always have a dream one day I'm just gonna like you guys go out on the boat. I'll stay here at the house, and then I'm like,
You scoot over and
where's
then get
Derek?
back.
Yeah,
I love it. I
you
love it.
know.
That's awesome. So, quick update: we have some fun stuff planned. We have a few fun guests for the fall as soon as my dad gets back. He's working on Mr. Carmouche for us, so that'd be sweet to have him on the podcast. But it's going to be a fun fall. I have to get your address. I'll get it for you after this. I'll send you the link so you tell me after you look at the site what coffee blend you would like. And then maybe you could come back on maybe before the Breeders' Cup when we do a preview there, and you could let us know, how the coffee was and what you thought
Sure.
about it. That would be sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we previewed the race this weekend in California. Do you have any updates for us on Jen's horse and how that horse is working towards potentially running in the Breeders' Cup? Do you know what any updates there?
Yeah, I think they said, if I recall, she said they're not going to run until the Breeders' Cup.
Okay.
That they're gonna wait. So it should be that horse, Seismic Beauty versus Torpedo Anna. I mean, it should be a match race, right? And it should be a great race. Torpedo Anna came back and won, last Saturday at Saratoga. So it should be a good matchup between those two. But I think she said that they're gonna just lay the horse off and try to come in fresh for the big one.
Okay.
You
Cool. I
know,
mean, I
because the
like
horse ran
that.
like a 109 buyer or something last race. So it was like, I think they were like, we'll just give her a break and let her come in fresh.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of big buyers, has any horse impressed you this summer as much as Bookham Dano? This horse is
Yeah,
unbelievable.
it's unbelievable. That horse is great.
It's
He's a New Jersey
crazy.
bred too. I mean, he's just a great horse. I, that's a great story. That's Paco's horse, right? And
Yes.
he's the favorite for the big one, unless he just like is the sometimes these horses peak in the summer. The horse could have just like really peaked and loved Saratoga and just like was his best self, and may not be that same horse in 3 months. But I mean, he was he's amazing right now.
It's crazy because, it's hard to consistently, like, we're talking about sovereignty and what he's done. And by and large, he's just seems to be the best at that distance. And when you run that distance, a lot of times you're able to get into a spot that you
Yeah,
need to be in and make the move you need to be in consistently, not taking anything away from him. In these sprint 6 furlong, 7 furlong races, the potential for like trouble with your trip, traffic, getting blocked, anything you
yeah,
can think of is so much higher for him to navigate these last three, which is the True North 6.5 furlongs in June, the Alfred G. Vanderbilt, which is a grade 2, and then the grade 1 Forgo,
Orgo.
which
Yeah,
was just last weekend. It's crazy. And I mean, you talk about Saratoga. He did win 3 at Saratoga here. He won at Saratoga last summer as well, 7 furlongs in the Woody Stevens. So maybe he just loves Saratoga, but this horse is on an unbelievable run.
yeah. He's good. I mean, he had a tough trip too in the Forgo. Like he was pocketed. And then, yeah, I mean, to run those horses down, but it's a good lesson for people who want to learn handicapping. Like when you're handicapping in like a sprint race, especially like a higher quality like that, you have to bet the best sprinters.
Yeah.
To be a horse that's coming in a race that's not a sprinter, he may be good. They can't compete with horses that are good sprinters. Even horses going like long distances, like when you get to that level, like you want the horses like that's their distance, you know.
Yeah.
And I say that, and I'm going to bet nice those this weekend.
how important is a jockey like Paco Lopez for a horse like Bookham Dano? Because I think
Yeah.
that he is the perfect match, and I have some reasons why. But I want to know if you think the same way I do. Why do you think Paco's riding style fits him so well?
Paco's an animal. I mean, Paco will go through any hole. Like he's very aggressive, and I think that's what suits the horse well, especially in those sprint races. Like Paco was in pocketed between these few, around the turn, and it was like the hole like this big, and he's like, bam, like no hesitation, I'm right through it. And if you want to win those kind of races, like you need a guy like that, and I think he suits that horse well, though, just because he's aggressive and the horse is, you know, aggressive and wants to run and wants to go through the hole, wants to win. You know, he's not like just go to the lead and sit. He's like sometimes he's got to power through and get that, and that's kind of Paco's move.
Completely. Completely. The
Yeah,
only thing I would add is I love Paco in sprint races as well because I think he's so good out of the gate. And once we have more jockeys on the pod, I really want to ask them about the art of breaking to the lead because you think of certain jockeys who are sort of like experts at it. And like even I've listened to a Katie Davis pod where she talked about like if I have a speed horse, but I also know Carmouche Kendrick has a speed horse, I have to ride the
yeah.
race differently because I know there's no chance that he's going to relinquish that and then I'm going to potentially have to burn the horse. And Paco's another one of those where like you're just going to get in less trouble with him in sprint races because he's so strong and he's so determined in the first like 30 seconds of a race. And Bookham Dano is nice for that because he's a big bounding horse too. He's not small for the sprints. So he just like dominates the first like 30 seconds of a sprint race and gives Bookham Dano the best possible positioning in those events. What do you think? Do you think that those jockeys are just innately good at breaking to the lead, or do you think it's something that they worked on and wanted to be good at and sort of like trained outside of riding?
I think probably a little bit of both. Yeah, I think some of them just probably have better reflexes, maybe just out of the gate, like bam, like that kind of quick like twitch reflex. Louis like that. Louis is very good out of the gate, and some of the other guys maybe more. Their skill maybe is more like analyzing the pace of the race, saving ground. Like Rosario's had a brilliant summer. He had a few rides, Rosario, that was like he just was so patient, waited on the turn, went through on the inside, and was like it was just beautiful. Though actually, the horse that when Jen won when we were there, we went and saw him after the race, and we got our picture with him. And Jen's going, I just won 7,700 on you, Joel. He goes, Where's my cut? Where's my cut, man? He's like, I get percentage. He's like
That's awesome.
$7,000. But he's like, his specialty maybe is like the last eighth of a mile of the race, getting the horse in the right position. Some of the other guys maybe feel like their specialty is getting out of the gate, like a Louis, like a Paco is like they're good at hustling horses out of the gate.
Yeah.
And long term, most horses win on the lead.
Yeah. True.
So they know that. So they're going, well, I'm going to use my horse now out of the gate. That's their strategy.
Yep. True.
But I think you'll find that each of them probably has different specialties, though.
I agree. I just want I agree with you. I think that it'd be fun to dig in a little deeper with some of those specialists and see if it's something that they work. Like I wonder, like when they lift weights, if like they go for maximum weight on the bar as opposed to more reps to have that like boom boom fast twitch. Like I wonder if they train
Yeah.
for it or if, like you said, maybe it's a blend of just the God given gift and coordination and reflex and stuff like that. So I do have one last piece I have to tell because this will be the first episode where we debut our the intro song for the podcast. It'll be in the beginning of this episode. So again, a quick shout out to my buddy Henrik who cooked that up for us. Super cool. But one fun story. In the song, you'll hear there's a line in the winner's circle like Katie Davis, and
Right.
we had that line cooked up for a while. And I went to Saratoga with the understanding that if Katie Davis won a race, I was going to get a video of her in the winner's circle. That was my plan. So we go, I knew we were going to be at the track all day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday. And so I said, chances are probably good. I'll get, maybe she has 4 mounts a day. We got 12 rides. We're going to get this. So long story short, day one, the poor girl only had 2 rides and didn't ride any horses that were going to be close to winning, unfortunately. The second day, no winners, more mounts, rode well, no winners. Third day, you can't make this stuff up. It's the last race of our last day. And I'm already starting to think to myself, all right, when we drop this thing for the podcast with the intro song, I'm going to have to just grab some clips on Google because it's done. And she breaks out in a 5.5 furlong turf race. She's on an 8-1 shot. Damn, I can't remember the name, but it was the number 5. Breaks out of the gate, sits in a pocket behind first and second, and then a horse on the outside, and she's in this pocket. And I can just hear in my ears us talking to her and her talking about how she loves the pocket trip.
Pocket, yeah.
And knowing that she has horse. And we made the T-shirts with the piano fingers, and her just sitting there biding her time. She goes out around the turn, boom, explodes. The horse has a little bit more. She ends up winning by like 6 or 7 lengths. And all those jabronis that think that the girl can't finish with a horse, yeah, go back and watch that race and you tell me.
Yeah.
So it was cool because then we rushed over and we got to see, got it up close and personal. So the video that you see, we took on the very last day of our last time in Saratoga this year. So it was kind of cool. It was a kind of a cool ending.
Yeah. No, I watched the podcast with her.
Yeah.
I mean, I was telling Paul, I was like, she could be our cousin. Like she's crazy. She's just like us. Like she's a little bit nuts. Like she's awesome, and she's a great rider. And that's exciting to see that she gets the win on the last day. You guys are there in the last race, and she always seems to win the last race. Every time we're there, I feel like when she wins, it's in the last race. I think like she gets her best mounts, like at the end of the card there on some of those on those bigger races have gone. Those guys have gotten their mounts, and maybe she's getting better mounts at the end sometimes, and she shows what she can do. And she's a great rider. And but I love her personality though, and just like watching the podcast, she's like I saw Paul like this woman could be our cousin, like she could be on the beach with us.
Yeah.
She's a little bit nuts, just like we are, And
She she, she
she
is.
was
She's
cool.
competitive. She's tough. And like we were watching her this past weekend, and she had like 6 mounts. I think she finished second once. She had a win. She lost by a nose, and it's just like this is when the girl, like you talk about her riding that last race, and I think what happens in that last race is the quality of her mount to the average quality of the overall mount in that race
Yeah,
sort of gets closer. And then now when she has horse and can give the horse a good ride, she's going to be there, when everything goes well. And yeah, so she killed it this weekend too. There was like everything all over social media was her just dominating race after race. So it was cool to see, But I'm glad you liked that episode. She was
yeah.
great. She sees my dad yesterday. She wins a race, and she came up to PD, and she had sit in this pocket just like that. I didn't see the race, but she sat in the pocket, and she came up to my dad after my dad came over and gave her a hug and was like, "That was a great ride." And she was like, "It was the piano fingers." So he was cracking up. He loved it.
That's amazing. No, that's awesome. I was cool too. She said on the podcast, she said, a lot about the summer for her is about building relationships for the fall. That was cool too, just to kind of see that, hey, I got to ride a lot of clunkers sometimes because I'm building relationships to get the better horses that these guys have in the fall. And that was kind of neat to see because a lot of times, like we were there, the horses she was on just had like no chance,
Yeah,
But she's like, I gotta ride some of those to make these relationships to get in the fall when we get back to Belmont. I can get some of these guys better horses and show what I can do.
yeah,
So
it's
I
cool.
think she's it's awesome to see like a person with that personality, in the sport, and I think it could drive a lot of people to horse racing because she's more animated and personal than some of the other guys, you know, that are a little
Definitely.
bit more like stoic and kind of game face kind of people. She's more having fun and is a better face sometimes.
I completely agree. How about after when a horse wins and they walk in Saratoga? It's the only racetrack in the country where after the winner's circle, to the jocks room, you walk through the crowd. And Irad Ortiz, arguably the best jockey in the country, walks through that crowd, and people ask him for some autographs, and people treat him like royalty. Don't get me wrong, but when Katie Davis rides a horse and wins, let's say, and walks through that line, you
Yeah.
think Taylor Swift was at the racetrack. She gets
Yeah.
mobbed. She's the biggest star, you know.
Yeah, she's got personality. She's great. She's a great competitor and great jockey. But like when she gets up there, she's smiling and
Yeah,
she seems like a very like cool, down to earth person, you know. I think
definitely.
people like that. It's cool if she can maybe get people excited about horse racing, you know.
Absolutely. She's a good
Yeah.
pioneer for the game. I think she can tap into the ladies. She can tap into the youth, and she's fun. So it was a great time with her. I think we're going to try and have her back on the podcast after like Breeders' Cup time, like closer to next year, just to like check in and everything. So she's been so good to my dad. He's been there. She's saying hello all the time.
Yeah.
BB. He's like, "Yo,
Yeah.
Katie."
Paul's like he won't leave the track. I think he's sleeping in by the paddock out there. The security needs to kick him out.
Gotta get, yeah,
Yeah. He's
yeah. He's
that would be
he's
cool
having
if you get Carmouche on too, because I watching Paul and Carmouche interact is hilarious.
it is.
Mooch is crazy too. He's another one that looks like he's just a lot of fun. You watch him in the paddock the other day. It had rained. There's a big puddle, and the horses are walking around the puddle, right? And Irad's horse is behind them, and he goes, "Irad, watch out for that puddle. Largemouth bass in there, man. Watch out, man." He's going like this, and Irad's looking at him like this, like I'm trying to focus on the race, man. This guy's like telling jokes. He's
Yeah,
funny. I think he would be a character.
he would be awesome, man. He'd be great. He
Yeah.
came up to us the race that Katie won, that last race of the day. He came up to my dad, gave him embraced my dad, gave him a hug, said hello, and he goes to my dad. He's just like, "I'm gonna make those motherfuckers catch me." And so he had a speed horse, and he basically was saying like, "I'm gone. Like they're gonna have to come get me if they want to win."
He would be us if we were jockeys. If you came over to
Yeah,
me, how do you like your horse? I'm like, I love my horse.
yeah,
I'm going right to the
yeah. What are
lead.
you
I'm never kidding.
kidding?
It's like,
What are
you
you
haven't won a
kidding? What do you
race in
mean? Do I
two
like
months.
it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
What are you talking about? I'm on the
yeah.
horse. Of course, I'm going for it.
You would never be able to listen to anything I said because you'd be like, well, do you think she's going to win again? Like,
Yeah, yeah. This man's
yeah, he seems
confident.
like he's got that belief to him, which is awesome. I love it.
Easy to root for. Easy to root for him.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked about him coming on because my dad's been a huge fan of his back to his Delaware Park days, and I remember reaching out to him I think in 2022 and being like, "Hey, you're definitely my dad's go-to rider. He loves you, man. Could you send him over like a birthday, like happy birthday message?" He would lose his mind, and he did it. I think within 24 hours, he sent him a video, wishing him happy birthday. Wishing you all the best. See you at the track. It just was a quality thing to do.
Yeah. Paul told me Paul goes one day, he goes to Delaware. It was like a Wednesday or something, and they're closed in New York, and he mooches at the track at Delaware, just there, like with the
Maniac.
track. He's like he just loves the track, you know. It's
Yeah,
like he seems like a fun guy, and he seems like he'd be fun to be around.
definitely,
Yeah, you got
definitely.
to get him on there.
He would be unbelievable. He would be
Yeah.
unbelievable. All right. Well, listen, I've taken enough of your time. I appreciate you coming on to fill my dad. I hope he comes back from Saratoga, but we don't know at this point.
Just leave him up there in his car. His car broke down, and then he
Yeah.
lost his phone.
Yeah. It's
It's amazing
trials
that
and
he still
tribulations.
survives, the modern world. And then he comes home and he's like, "You look at my Instagram post." I'm like, the guy can't even charge his phone when I'm with him, and all of a sudden he's on Instagram.
Yeah, I know.
You
He's a
know,
legend. Yeah,
he's a
absolute legend.
legend.
He's having
Yeah,
fun, Dad. If you're listening to this up at the campgrounds, because I know you said you would tune in, get home safe, kick some butt this weekend, and bet journalism. But that is Daily Double, episode 16, me and my cousin Dewey D. I'll get that website over to you. You let me know the coffee of your choice, and then we'll get a review from you next time you're on. But I appreciate you, D.
yeah. No, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Alrighty, y'all.